If you're a Star Wars fan, then odds are you probably have a favorite game from the franchise. For me, it's a split between the Rogue Squadron series and BattleFront. And today we're going to be looking at what is usually referred to as the best in the series, number 2. Unfortunately, I don't have the first one, so I can't really make the comparisons between this one and the original. Except for the fact that you can play as some of the heroes and go to new locations in this one. But first, let's go over the history of the game that is thankfully not going to be 8 minutes long. It was announced that Star Wars Celebration 3 2005 had some DLC on the Xbox version, and the online support was continued for a little bit longer after the main host GameSpy had shut down. For the record, I never got to try the online mode, but I heard I wasn't missing out on much as it would get a bit laggy and weird after about 8 people were in a server. I had also found out after I made the rough draft of this video that the game wasn't originally going to contain a single player campaign, and the higher ups thought that the game wouldn't sell well without it, and told them to put in some single player goodies. I was rather surprised and impressed that they knew they needed both, but the developers were worried that they wouldn't have enough time to properly implement them and were only told to figure it out. For having great foresight, they had some really bad nearsight. Patches didn't exist for console games back then. You could have easily have made this a horribly rushed and unplayable game. Well, give it up for the developers, folks, because they did it. And could you imagine what the game would have been like without some of these modes? Well, you will when the time comes, but our attention is on the here and now with this game. Oh, and I know the music seems a little bit off, but that's because I'm using Rogue Squadron music, so it has less of a chance to get hit by a copyright notice. If that's a problem for you, then be sure to let John Williams know how you feel. Battlefront 2 is a third or first person shooter depending on how you want to play it. Normally I prefer third person because I like to make sure I won't run into a stupid corner and die, but I have to admit, playing in first person mode made the aiming easier than Palpatine taking out those first 3 Jedi Masters in Revenge of the Sith. At least Kit Fisto held out for about 5 seconds. There are various ways to play the game, but the most common type is Conquest. You win by either wiping out the other team, or by taking over every base and holding them for 20 seconds. I don't think there's a preferred method here, because it's fun to do both. I'll blast you and take your stuff. Hey look, more of your stuff! I'll take that and shoot more of you Jango wannabes! Who needs refill stations when you've got moving piñatas? Each team consists of the usual suspects: gunners, explosives, far away, and up close and personal, each with a secondary and special weapon. But there are also 2 special members that you can't use until you've earned some points like capture a base or clean up the rebel scum. One of the most noticeable is the droidekas, cause they looked OP in the movies. And my favorite is the Dark Trooper. I'm here to deliver a message from the Emperor. You will die. But I usually just stick to the regular blaster. Then I got the legendary status that took hours to get, and now I enjoy that new elite rifle after I switched to it. 1 fire, 3 shots, no survivors. You went out like a Boba Fett, bro. That's sad. I jumped into the pit myself. There's always an advantage to using the others, but let's just say the enemies aren't immune to any Jedi mind tricks, so just about anything will get the job done. Hello, transport. Let's cause some damage. Shame I can't take over a base while I'm inside of you, but the ride was fun and we tore many apart. It was a good day. But the best way to make sure the other team never tastes victory is to use your hero when they're ready. Jedis, Siths, and Grievous basically brush the other team aside like the laser fodder they are. The lightsabers here actually work like they're supposed to. 1 hit and they go night-night. Sometimes 2 hits if I hit just a hand or something. There, now you have matching flesh wounds. Sadly, you can't take your heroes into space with you. Here, it's all about points. Whoever reaches 180 points first rules the galaxy. Personally, I find this slow, annoying, and the best part of it is when you're not in space. Though I do admit I can find amusement when I fly into their hangar and blow them up from the inside, especially when their shield generators can take a pounding from the outside. But give them 4 explosive packs and watch some indoor fireworks. Space and land battles both share another way to play the game. Capture the flag. I love it when I don't have to explain things. Ground battles, on the other hand, have 1 more mode to them: genocide. Step right up, folks, choose a side, and let them have it. Ewoks, Jawas, and Gungans look great mounted over your fireplace. Want to try the other side?
I'll walk with them good.
Tatooine actually has 1 more mode that the others don't: a hero skirmish. Chewie, Han, Leia. No thanks, I'll take Mace Windu for the win, thank you. All of this is found in instant action. Good labeling on that. But the game does have 2 other settings and rules to play by. There's the story mode that tries to tell the perspective of the 501st from the Clone Wars to the Battle of Hoth because they don't want to show the embarrassing defeat at Endor. This mode is mission-based, so your victory counts on you checking off your chore list. But man, some of those parts like protecting the bookcases from the Jedi, hunting down the Geonosian who wants to reactivate the droid army, and the opening of Episode 4 are more unforgiving than the Emperor. This is a mode that you want to play when you get tired of the real game. Play this, and then decide, I want to go back to the real game now. The other mode, Galactic Conquest, feels like a game of Risk. Move from one captive planet to the next, take it over, gain some money, fun new recruit types, buy some bonuses like better firepower or heroes to give you an edge or a flat-out victory until you've rid the galaxy of whoever tried to take your stuff. The best part is all these modes can be played in 2-player split screen. In my book, that's the best way to play both the story and universe domination. Instant action is always great regardless if another person joins in, especially for a quick pickup, play, and then put down after a few maps. Battlefront 2 is one of the best-selling Star Wars games of all times with thousands if not millions of fans behind it. Why? Let me give you a little scenario. Darth Vader plus speeder bike. This is so wizard! It's like a dream! It's like a dream! It's like a... Relive just about any of your favorite battle scenes from the first 6 movies. Use vehicles that you always wanted to try out, and just being an overpowered Jedi, Sith, or Grievous is really addictive, especially with its limit that also diminishes when you take damage, but can extend with the more you take down, encouraging you to get the most out of the character as you can. Reliving special moments like the trash compactor in the Death Star, or recreating Super Mario Bros. 1. It's a Star Wars fan's dream game, just mindless action with lasers and explosions at every turn, and can be quite hard to put down. There's enough variety in the classes to give you something new to try out. Most of the maps are large and diverse enough to enjoy running around without feeling claustrophobic. Keyword most. And many of them really understand the landscape of those places. And everything in the game only gets better when there's someone else playing with or against you. Yeah, this was a very short positive section, but what can I really say that I haven't already? Reload while rolling. There, another quick positive. While it seems basic, it has some depth to it that you might not expect, and an addiction that is hard to put down. But unfortunately, you should be aware of the dark side. A few nitpicks here and there, which is common, but there's really only one negative this game has that is very hard to overlook. First, the little things, like the animation on faraway models. No, you know what? Scratch that. It's funny to watch them shuffle everywhere. The story mode drags on, can be unfair at times, and you really don't get anything out of beating it, blah blah blah. Force pull and push are rather picky as they'll work, won't work, and want to mess with your head sometimes. Having to save too many times in Galactic Conquest is a necessary evil, and it just kinda takes forever. The space combat feels sluggish and less exciting compared to, say, Rogue Squadron. Using the harpoon cable on Hoth isn't very intuitive, difficult to control when it finally works, and seems pointless when another AT-AT will just respawn. And wow, am I already at the big negative already? Well, okay then, I like cutting to the chase. Battlefront 2 is infamous for having some very stupid AI. How stupid are they? I'm sure Fafo would have loved that for his list. I don't know how many double takes I did the first time I saw that, but yeah, they apparently have no problem walking into a hole that goes nowhere but death. Oh, and this was Capture the Flag? And he was the one who had it! Later on in that match, this guy had the flag, but he wouldn't leave that spot! I have friendly fire off, I'll get to that in a second, so all I could do was try to force push this guy into the goal, but trying to adjust the aim isn't as easy as bullseyeing Womp Rats at Beggar's Canyon, and when I missed, he would run back to that first spot! It took a while before some of the enemies could find him and shoot him, and when they did, I was very happy because I could move on. I would have done it myself, but like I said, I have friendly fire off, and that's a good thing, except for that one time. These guys will kill themselves before they meet the other team. Friendly fire! Oh! And worse, they can get in your way. Yes, I know there is also an option to turn the enemy AI from normal difficulty to elitist, but it doesn't make them smarter, just more aggressive.
But doesn't that make them more difficult?
No matter how hard he attacks that wall, it won't kill me any faster.
Short for a stormtrooper?
Size matters not.
I have a lot of fond memories playing this with my brother, and even by myself, it's still fun to pick off some mindless henchmen. Normally, dumb AI doesn't bother me that much unless it brought extra baggage with it, or is almost a focal point of the game. This gets in the way so much because it just makes the game too easy. It's fun for a few quick matches, which is why I love that instant action is a thing, but unless someone else is playing with you, don't expect the enemies to offer that much of a resistance. Don't confuse the story mode for having that though, as it doesn't know how to be fair, thus making it frustrating without the sense of satisfaction for clearing it. Star Wars fans are the ones who will get the most enjoyment out of this. There's your biggest no-duh moment. And I'm sure those not too familiar with this galaxy far, far away will still find something to like, such as using overpowered heroes and plowing down enemies with AT-ATs. The Force is strong with this one, but it's not a master. A 4 out of 5, a couple of flaws, but overall a good game. This could have easily been a horribly rushed and unplayable game. So don't be too surprised if you see some things that don't really make a lot of sense. I'm sure you've already noticed, but it's rather fun hearing the AI say some stuff from time to time.
Look out, it's Major Malevolence! General Grievous!
But it also feels like there are times where they only say something once. I've heard them say, "Can I borrow some midi-chlorians?" And of course, "Darth Maul, what's he gonna do, bleed on us?" When a movie license references another movie like that, it's hard not to love it. I don't know how I feel about spawning in this game. It's kind of like a dual-bladed lightsaber, able to protect your spot, but also jumping right into the crossfire. Gotta take the good with the bad in this case, I suppose. One of my favorite memories of playing this game with my brother was this time I was blowing up his shield generator, and he comes in and says, "It's over! I have the high grounds!" And then I shoot him almost effortlessly and mocked him saying, "You underestimate my powers!" Ah, the memories.
The Rebellion has received credits for freeing Dagobah.
Dagobah? Who paid us for that swamp mess? There is nothing of value or resource there. What, did Yoda give us his cane or something? Yeah, I don't think it was worth that much. These are the videos you're looking for. Like the new background for this section? Figured I'd try to put up more when I could, but I know why you're really here. You want to see who's getting plugged, and what's the future video. So without further ado, let's plug Game Room Heroes' review of Banjo-Kazooie. Your editing looks great, and the video format is very well structured. The only thing I believe that needs improvement is your narration. Your voice is fine, in fact, I think it's great for narration, but it just sounds like you're reading a script, and that's not exactly a good thing. That's usually the biggest thing that will trip up a lot of people, but with a little more practice and a better understanding of how to present your emotions, you'll get the hang of it. It took me, like 4 years to finally get a grasp of it? I haven't been able to check out any of your newer videos to see if you've improved, but I'm sure you'll be fine. And for a future video we have, not surprisingly, the review for BattleFront EA. And with all that said, I'll see you guys in another video. Later, everyone!